And the question that comes to my mind is one that I've voiced many, many times. I've asked many, many times, especially every time we talk about social media. And Shmaila, I'll take this to you. And I think it's an important question to reflect upon each and every time, which is, in all of what we're saying in our entire conversation, are we not making the mistake of assuming that the user is passive, that the user in fact is, just this pawn that can be manipulated in any way that he or she can be manipulated? We're basically depriving the individual of all agency.
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting point in the sense that, but I think it's very important, and that's why digital rights activists, as Hija was talking about, sort of the responsibility and the immense power that these companies have, because these companies have actively worked to divest the average user of power over time. So, for example, like sort of the lack of transparency that we keep talking about, that has actually made the user less able to understand how their data is used, and then how that data is sort of fed into algorithms and then used to manipulate them. So there is a very clear hierarchy and power imbalance when it comes to the user and the social media companies, and to the extent that they're almost operating like sort of oligarchs or sort of monopolies with unchecked power. That's why one of the few sort of proposals to in sort of the United States and all over the world is to break up the business model and to break up the monopolies that these companies have had. So there is a huge disparity, but I think this is an interesting point to bring up, because it about the agency of the user, because we've seen that users are also very smart. So a lot of times, like for example, when you see in social movements, both right-wing and sort of towards more progressive groups, they understand how these algorithms work as well. They constantly sort of also actively manipulate these algorithms to trend something, for example. So there is, I think, growing understanding amongst users